Hello, it's meow time for KittenouSbeast gaming videos for cats and their people. KatzeLande Prime, episode 23. Um, so in last episode we were doing a facilities review and identified several small issues that needed correction and actually implemented solutions on those things. And we're going to continue that process while preparing and setting our sights on finally developing um, some sort of facility out in space. We've really gotten closer. We've nearly reached the final threshold, this abyssalite layer, and then we'll really be out in the vacuum of space. So, we have been trying to head up there for some time. Our technology, our ability to produce new technologies and research things has been completely stopped by our ability to need rad bolts. And I believe that this is the easiest way at this stage of the game to harvest rad bolts, is to get out there in outer space and just get them. So, with that in mind, I have been pushing upwards, and we've been slowed down by obstacles like polluted oxygen and water, and worked on just siphoning that off. And we're going to continue to do that right away. So, first thing I'm kind of noticing is there's like about 30 tiles of water here, but the capacity over here is only 22 tiles. So we need to add some additional capacity to this tank. Um, in order to do that, I am going to just simply build this wall a little bit closer. So build another wall and then delete this wall to add space to the tank. And that'll just give us a few more tiles of space. Uh, yeah, those two wild plug slugs are ours for the taking, so we're going to snag them. And then this egg, if we can get to it eventually, it's another plug slug for us to have in our base. And look, this one plugged into the wire, so we're actually getting um, power from that one. So that's good. Yeah, that's cool. These little critters are fun. So we're gonna try and grab them if we can. Yeah, we got an issue with polluted oxygen here. Working on our waterweed farm. Look at this. This is incredible. This is one long stretch of waterweeds. Beautiful. Um, I think I've said this multiple times, but uh, this pip farm is, I think, pretty fun. It's a fun concept to be able to continue to plant plants naturally with these little pips, and you know, doesn't cost any resources. It's just a nice little thing that we've done. Take advantage of the fact that we've got pips in our base. So here he goes. He's gonna plant another one. Funny, right? Little funny guys planting their seeds. So we'll get this done, and then we'll be able to close the books on this project once they plant the last few seeds. Alright, so last time we talked about these incubators. So incubators are an interesting item. So you don't really need to power them all the time. And that's, I think, the thing that's interesting about them. So I'm going to go ahead and just wire these both up to this timer. And what I'll do is I'll just set them to be active for a very brief period of time once the timer is set up in the morning. And that way they'll only use power while the dupe tries to do the lullaby. So how it works is the incubator is supposed to make the egg get incubated faster. That's That's the deal. But it doesn't need to be powered for the whole time that you're doing incubation process. It only needs to be powered during the time where the dupes are singing to the egg. Uh, that's how that works. So what I like to do is I like to leave the activation really, really short, maybe like 15%. So like right in the morning, maybe like, let's go like 5% in, so that the dupes with the ranching skills will come here, sing to these little eggies, and then the eggies will get an acceleration bonus in their growth. So once this is set up, we can plug in these incubators and they will not draw power until the timer tells them to be turned on. And that's just going to save us electricity. It's a good way to run the system. So we're going to do glossy Drecklet, and we're going to do a plug slug. We want to grow both of those critters. Got a load of slug eggs, and we can get those into electricity producing slugs very, very soon. We got 5 of them in here. I'm gonna check my reports. Okay, just checking my reports on power usage. So, did they get the next one? They did. These guys are the best. The last one. And then this farm is finished. And I don't know about you, but I think this is utterly impressive. To have this massive field of waterweeds all growing naturally. Don't have to spend any resources to get them to grow. And let's see how many we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 waterweeds. That's enough food to feed 2 dupes, and it costs me nothing. And the food is high quality. These waterweed plants produce really cool food. The lettuce. So, yeah, we're working on it. Go ahead and take out this wall. Give us a little bit more space. And then we'll be able to crack into this a little bit more. So now we've got 24 tiles in space. Should be okay. You see that water flowing over here? That's what's keeping this cool down here. It's so foolish to build this farm in this biome where we have to fight this temperature. But, I don't know. The hydrogen was all here and it was easy enough. And the God's honest truth is once this thing goes live, this whole thing is going to get real hot. Or really cold fast. So, I'm not too worried about the temperature here, the prolonged temperature. I might have to switch these to insulated tiles to prevent this from cooling it too much, actually. Uh-oh, we've got some idleness happening here. So, let's go ahead and do some little bit of additional digging, let more water come down here. And maybe we'll even do a little digging up. Put a couple of oxygen diffusers or odor deodorizers up here. Run some wire up. Get this place cleaned up in no time. Got some printables coming in. Water. Wow. but sort of an all-arounder. None of these guys are jumping out at me. This guy's got nice, nice set of 3 interests and 3 traits. But the bottomless stomach, I don't need that in my life right now. Just get some water. Alright, so almost finished with this part of the project here. And, we did add this extra tank, but we never replaced that reservoir for dumping out polluted water. So we actually have to make a plan for that. And, considering that this little area here is designed for handling that kind of weird wastewater, I'm actually going to kind of build it into this piece here. So the plan is to have 2, maybe even get rid of that, and we'll just kind of do a funny little reservoir down here. Remember that there's these airflow tiles here, so even if this chamber is empty, the air will pass freely. Put the pump down here. Go ahead and power it up right off the line. We'll plumb it right into the system properly. And then we'll put our little our bottle emptier in here, and it'll just pour the liquid right into the place it needs to go. Problem solved. So now we've got our little way of disposing of polluted water that we've mopped up, which we lost when we did the little rebuild there to put in an extra power circuit. Remember, that power circuit's going to serve the top of the base once things are worked on properly here. And I think it's safe to say we can probably just clear down and let the rest of this water drip out. We're coming out ahead in terms of the expansion of the water tank and the fact that most of the water is being pumped out and used to maintain this little area here. So let's check on our little eggies. So were they did they get the little sing? They didn't get the lullaby yet. So we're nearing the end of their activation time. I should have set this as a... No, they are higher priority tasks. So they should have happened. Here comes somebody. Yeah, so there's the lullaby action. Oh, so we lost power, so they're not going to do the lullaby action on the other egg. So I'm going to go ahead and shift the active duration back a little bit. And now we will get that lullaby effect. Now, the lullaby effect lasts for 1 cycle, and it increases their incubation rate by 400%. And this one's going to last 1 cycle, same thing, 400%. So it's just going to make the eggs incubate significantly faster. And I'm just going to tweak the active duration and just tweak the time a little bit, because my dupes were coming, but they just needed a little bit more time. So I'm going to shift it back maybe to 10%, and just leave it on for 20%. And maybe we'll see them get the lullaby in before the timer runs out. So we'll just keep an eye on that. But now that these eggs are lullabied, they incubate much faster, so we can throw the critters on the power network. It's kind of what we're doing here, so yeah, it's great. Check in reports. Okay, no power wasted on the slugs, so that's what we're looking for. Alright, nearly finished with this piece of the puzzle. And I was just thinking, like, oh yeah, they're gonna have to bottle up all this water eventually, right? They'll mop this place clean. But where are they gonna put the water? Well, that's why I'm building that pitcher bottle onto your system here to deal with that. Alright, and almost finished. Just need one more waterweed. Wonder if this waterweed is interfering with this waterweed down here. We are getting some idleness. So, gotta be back to work for the dupes. Alright, so this is nearly running out. We'll need some additional deodorizers here to handle this polluted oxygen mess. Yeah, it might be a little overkill to use so many deodorizers, but it's necessary to clean this up and to do it quickly. Got a pressure problem. Got really high pressure here. So if I ever encounter a situation where I have a pressure problem like that, generally speaking, what I like to do is open up more tiles. So like, there's high pressure here. Let's just dig out all of these tiles. Just do it. And notice I do have this hydrogen sink here in the construct of a hydrogen sink. So I want to maintain that sort of. So we'll, try and be respectful of those boundaries. But, and I'll, dig these out and put them in there. But then I'm going to dig out the rest of these, a good chunk of these tiles to open things up so that there's some change in pressure. All those poor pacus. Should just put them out of their misery and eat them. There'll be pacus for dinner tomorrow night. I'm interested to see the mixture of gases here. So, a lot of carbon dioxide and some chlorine mixed in, but mostly carbon dioxide. It's not settling. Well, it's 1800 oxygen pressure here, so that should be sufficient to press things down. Yeah, interesting to see the gases, and then maybe it's this pump running so much to keep this place cool. I have no idea. The good news is once we've got the glossy Drecos, we can set up a new farm someplace else, or I don't know. This has been kind of a mess. This heat problem here. sure what to make of it and how to really respond. I mean, I did what I thought was right here, digging out some space. But I don't know. Maybe I need to do more. Cut some more of this high temperature rock out. I'm not sure. So, alright. So, we're getting close. So close to our space streams. Soon enough, right? Alright. Did we get the last waterweed? Oh, no. We have waterweed seeds, don't we? Yep. Maybe they're not planting this one on principle. Maybe it's because there's this one up here. I'm not sure. Alright. So, what's next on the agenda? Just checking to make sure these are lullabied, and they are. Great. So we should see some good benefits coming out of that from our Slug generator farm piece. Lots of carbon dioxide over here. Interesting. Our ethanol reserves are running low. I'm going to need to do something about that next time. Maybe even a little bit later. Stone egg. That's good. Got some stone hatches coming. Good. Some other nonsense down here with these pips. So many pips. Yeah. Alright, so let's keep focused and stick with it. Keep at it up here at the top of the base. Hopefully we'll be able to get closer to space. Deodorizers work so good, purifying the air. So this place will be wrapped up in no time, so long as we march them up and clear out this whole air pocket. We're doing pretty good here. So we're going to keep on continuing this project here with the thrust upwards towards space. We do need to give these machines a few minutes to process these pockets of polluted oxygen. It's just better to play it safe. Now there is sort of this interior band, and I see that that's an issue, so we are going to go ahead and just take action to correct that issue. Of course, like the polluted oxygen sort of forms a dense layer at different heights, and you have to like have a deoxidizer or a set of deoxidizers working on that particular issue. So I'll wire this up real quick, and just let the deoxidizers do their work. And eventually we probably won't see any polluted oxygen in this chamber, except in this very high position here, because it'll all have gotten cleared out by these machines. Placing airflow tiles here, and then we'll break out these tiles here to make it, you know, sort of a simple situation. So, yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. You notice these deoxidizers here took care of that little small pocket, and we can actually just break this in a way that's going to optimize the deodorizer's capacity for eliminating polluted oxygen. So breaking it here will allow this polluted oxygen out. It'll get caught up and purified. So that's great. Let's do it that way. Still haven't finished this, and I do now believe that this waterweed here is interfering with this last placement. Not sure what I'm going to do to fix that particular issue. You know, there's another layer I could take advantage of up here. Knowing that they were able to plant these are in parallel, so it wouldn't interfere. So I could take advantage of another layer of this waterweed type farm right here. You know, if I put a block here and cut all these blocks, put some blocks here, it'd be fabulous. So why wouldn't I want to do something like that? So you know, looking at what's here in terms of the tile, you know, we've got 200 kilograms of salt water, and what do we've got here? 13 or 3,000, maybe 3,200 plus another 4,800. So spread across this number of tiles, this water will just be absorbed, and the water weeds will continue to grow uninterrupted. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just pierce into here, let this water weed out, the salt water out into this channel, and then we'll harvest that water weed and finish the farm that we had sort of planned here. In order to accommodate the different regions and keep these pips from escaping, we'll do it in this fashion here. We're sort of building in and up, and then we'll cut into that water area and allow the water to drain out. So we'll get there. It'll take a few seconds while the dupes get to work on it. Just checking ventilation output, you know, seeing that we do have high demand on these pumps. That's a lot of power. It's time for us to start to plan on how to get some ethanol back into the system here. And we're going to do that using largely gravity and tunnels. So, you know, we have a reservoir here with a pump. It's all hooked up. It's all set up. No reason to really interfere with that. And we need a way of channeling any ethanol in this chamber down into here. So we'll build some tunnels that'll make this a reality for us. I'm going to go ahead and start my cut in a little bit high. Keep things simple. So we're going to go up a little bit and then cut in here. And I think it'll make sense why I'm cutting in there in a little bit. So the plan will be to allow any liquid to flow down through here. So we'll have a few tiles in place to allow proper transit, and then we'll carve in here a ladder all the way down with a 2-tile cut. And that right there is going to allow any fluid we break off to come down through here right into this chamber. So that's kind of the strategy we have here for this cut. And we're going to be able to restore this ethanol fuel supply. And again, this is it's not going to solve our problem. It's just buying us some time and cutting us some inroads, exploring more area. We see here now that there's a little geyser over here. So, you know, more things to explore and more territory to look at. So it's smart to just expand. Over here, there's this really super cold radioactive biome. So there's uranium in here and all these other really cold resources, snow, ice, uranium mostly. And there's even wolframite. That's really exciting. So, haven't yet to even go over there. Meanwhile, look, there's another really large reservoir of ethanol right here. Even bigger than my original reservoir was, maybe. So, if I'm desperate and I need this, I can just figure a way down in there and pump it all out into this other system. So, we'll get there. I'm going to use gravity initially first to handle the problem. And look, there's a reservoir right here. Just need a tall enough ladder and all that ethanol right back into our tank. And we're going to be good to go. So this is no problem at all. We're going to be able to sustain the way that we are generating electricity indefinitely with this ethanol reservoir right here. I mean, at least for the next few, maybe 100 cycles or at least. So we'll finish that project over there. How are we doing over here? What have we done so far? Completed a few more deodorizers. Fighting a good fight. And we're going to have this thing wrapped up, I think, pretty soon. So that's excellent. Dealing with these challenging water pockets and diverting them into the correct places, it's all very challenging. And you've probably noticed over the past few episodes, my concentration has been divided in many areas. And that's one of the challenges of this game, is just managing the different managing all the different demands that you have in this game, where you're trying to figure out what should go where, and you're trying to be careful and build resources that are going to stand the test of time. This Waterweed farm is going to be an incredible natural resource for the base, and it's going to be worth every single second I spent building it. Just because it's going to provide, 2 duplicates worth of food for free, or whatever it is going to amount to, close to 2 duplicates. And, that's just one less thing I need to worry about. So, we'll see how that comes out. Checking my air system pressure. Look, loads of plug slugs are coming out right now. Loads of them. Wouldn't surprise me if this glossy egg was done yet, but it's not. It's almost there. Got a printable. More slug eggs. This is incredible. Okay, so I've got so many plug slugs that they are overfilling this chamber right here. And so now I'm thinking to myself, what do I need? I need another plug slug chamber. And this one is 78 tiles or something. So, I might even try and make a bigger one. But the key to this chamber is this long heavy watt wire. So it's very ugly. So, I'm going to do what I need to do to make an additional plug slug generator room. It's absolutely absurd as that sounds. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and build that space out and see what it looks like. So yeah. First thing I'm going to do is take out some of these buildings. Just those air filters and whatnot. It's just got to go. We'll do this heavy what? Joint plate. That's going to interfere with the present status of the wires. That's a problem. Well, I'm going to be clearing out some of this stuff, so maybe I can wire this a little differently. I could use this central access here. Put that wire in place. And then, with them destroying all these tiles, I can get rid of that wiring and keep it a little bit more simple. Maybe even shoot something along here. And tidy this up a little bit. Put some. I've decided to keep the airflow or the mesh tile in place, but destroy everything else. Okay. So once I build these wires in place, I can cut these, and then this heavy watt transmission system will work properly. So, and this is going to be totally fine. I do want this to last, and now I'm looking at the aluminum volcano, and I'm like, oh, well, when I build whatever I need to build, I don't want to have something in the way of that. So, that does make me think, is there another way to go with this project to avoid being near this aluminum volcano? We do have lots of space and places, so thinking like, would it be good to have a farm in here somewhere maybe? Put like a little slug generator spot. Maybe I could even put it over here in this little cold zone. Have a little wire over here or something. This is where it's like you're trying to figure out what to do. You're considering your options. Trying to take the path of least resistance, perhaps. So it's going to be a problem if I build it around here. I'm probably going to set up some kind of system to get the resources from this aluminum volcano eventually. So the less stuff I've built in the way of that project, the better. With that in mind, I do have some high points of this heavy watt wire. So I'm actually going to capitalize on that and maybe build a little slug nest over here. It's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go maybe like, yeah, I want to go like this size here. Okay, so with that size determined, and with me using insulated tiles as sort of the boundary markers, now I kind of know, like, okay, so this is going to be where my farm is. Oh, I guess I could do it that way, so let's do it like this. So I'm sort of planning out how the wiring is going to work, and we'll do the wiring like so. Remember, these slugs hang off the ceiling and plug into the wire, so that's going to be the slug plug side of the system. We are gonna like maybe make some moves here in terms of how this is laid out. We can provide some additional access. You know, well, wow. So it's like a hinge point at the base. That's clever. That's good. Just finish the project here with another door. There we go. All right. So here's another plug slug delivery location. So I'm going to go ahead and set in the food item that's going to deal with the deliveries. We got to plug that back into our network though. So there is still the matter of dealing with that detail. So we'll, plug it into the system on the back side here. I think that works. It's not a place the dupes are going to go to, and this is going to give us this additional capacity with these plug slugs. And like I said, I think there's nothing better than just free electricity. So free power, like why not cash in on it as soon as we possibly can. So that's the plan here. Sorry, that one made the wrong move there. I think we're finally going to be able to see this last waterweed seed planted. And then once that's done, and I think we'll see it in the next few seconds. Once that's done, that's it. We're ready for the next level. And the next level is this stretch here. So we're gonna build another waterweed farm right here along this next stretch. And we should be fine in terms of spacing. They should be able to place them in the rows. And we'll have more waterweed seeds. I mean, we've got 13 more seeds. Why wouldn't we do another farm? And then we have, access to both levels of that farm here. It'll be fine. It'll work out nicely. And these pips here who've planted all these seeds, we can turn them into barbecue. That'll be great. Absolutely great. Putting in the necessary ladders so that the project can get finished. And hopefully we'll see one of these little... Yeah, here he goes. Here he goes. Go and plant it. Go on, plant it. Go, take it. What are you doing, you funny guy? Go and plant it over here. It's weird. Something's glitching out. We'll come back to it. Maybe they'll have done it. Because they should plant this. Is there another overlays here? There is. There's another waterweed there. So we gotta uproot that. I think once we do that, they will plant the last one. Okay, so we're getting there. How's the conquest? Yes! Look at this. Oh, clear skies, right? Everything's all handled with the polluted oxygen. It makes you wanna just say, oh wow, there you go. It's all been handled. I just like you love that sentiment, but there's no rest for the weary here. You gotta make sure you're ahead of the game, so beefing it up. You know, we'll see how this situation handles up here out in outer space. We're going to get there very soon. But we need to formalize and continue to keep for a formality around the systems here. So what I'm going to do is try and drain off this chlorine gas into this chamber down here. We'll start by a little bit of a project there. And we'll shoot a ladder up that and get these pockets gas like so. Meanwhile, we've pretty much taken care of the polluted oxygen issue up here. There's a few pockets left, little holdouts here and there, and we'll get those. I want to finish the main center ladder piece. This has been a long time coming, so we're going to get as high as we possibly can, and that's going to be good enough for us for this particular phase of the ladder. So this central corridor promise for the dupes to have one corridor from base all the way up to the top, it's been kept. It's been a difficult challenge. I'm glad that there were no geysers in the way, but it's an unobstructed channel, and that's going to make things really easy when we're trying to deal with some of the end game demands. We are going to need to do a heavy watt transmission line all the way up, and that's one of the reasons why I actually built this plug slug farm up. Gives me options for continuing the generator heavy watt line up. We've kind of gone in here. We can maybe sneak through one of these positions here. No big deal. And then we're going to do it. Hopefully plant this seed. Alright, so once this heavy watt wire is built, we will be able to deliver some plug slugs in here. So my goal here is to avoid the overcrowded or cramped condition. So you know, we're going to auto wrangle the surplus, and I'm going to shoot for 8 plug slugs in this little spot. So this is a priority 9, and so I'm going to make this a priority 9 as well. And in fact, maybe I should make this a priority 8, because this is my first little overfilled room. I mean, we got plug slugs coming out the ears here, so we gotta make sure that A, we're not losing power, which we aren't, and B, we've got them producing the energy that we need them to produce. So we'll divert some of them over here, and they'll plug into the network on this side for the best. Okay. Just trying to figure out what the issue is. They just would plant this last waterweed seed, we'd be good to go, but they ain't doing it. Don't quite understand it. They should be able to plant one here. For whatever reason, they ain't doing it. Maybe they're too far away or something? That could be it, right? So, you know, I'll just kind of go out on a limb here and put a storage bin somewhere here. Put like a mesh tile over it. Try and get to the bottom of this mystery. How'd this little guy get out over here? Oh gosh. Okay, so, whew, glad I got back into this game. This geyser went hot, and I didn't notice it. And now we've got gas flowing into our natural gas power plant. So that's great. It's gonna take pressure off of the petroleum generator for sure. But you know, wow, I didn't necessarily expect that. But here we are again. So that's fine. There we go. Take out these obstacles to the central pole there. Right, so we're getting there. We've nearly reached space. And with our reach out into space, we will be able to finally get to the Tier 3 research points. So this is a great time to kind of like take a break. We've finally reached space. We're like right at the door. And so we'll plan a way of getting out into outer space and keeping our dupes safe with some safety equipment and whatever. And you know, we'll keep an eye on what's going on here with the Drecos. You know, we can probably build a Dreco farm that's maybe a little bit better designed. I don't know. Um, we could do some pinch of peppermuts along the ceiling or something. And they have the ceiling filled with hydrogen and do it that way. And I'm not worried about glossy Drecos anymore. I don't need to use these mealwood plants. So if I just do pinch of peppermuts, peppermint plants or whatever, I could probably get a pretty good farm with no cost to keeping them fed. You know, they'll just. So I'm thinking of taking advantage of that over here and building a little farm that uses the pinch of pepper plants seeds and thinking about how many I can get across this little span here. It's quite impressive. And that would be totally fine for a boundary for a Dreco farm. You know, look, we're like 40 tiles here. So So, just go ahead and throw some tiles down this way. Keep it going. Now you've got like a nice stretch of space that would give you plenty of pinch of peppermint plants. Plenty of plants to keep the Drecos fed. And then you're like, okay, so that's gonna work. And you just stick some hydrogen in here and you're good to go. I could even siphon the hydrogen that's up here and up here and pump it into this chamber here and just keep it as like my main Dreco ranch. Look at that, like we're at 100 tiles right here. So we can build this with confidence and make sure it's gonna fit the plan. And because of the fact that this is going to be a Dreco ranch, I'm going to seal the top. And we'll carve in here and provide some kind of access maybe here to this tunnel. But yeah, seal this all up. And so this will be my new Dreco ranch, and I'll use pips to do the work of planting the food for the Drecos, so that the Drecos have good stuff to eat. So that's going to be the plan. This particular build over here. So 100 tiles, and then we'll have a few things a little higher and a few things lower. It'll work out. Not sure when our first glossy Dreco is actually going to hatch. It actually has hatched. So all the more reason for me to like expedite my completion of this project, because this is where I'll stick those glossy Drecos. So let's go ahead and get the drop-off point built. Kind of set all this as high priority project work. Oops. Again, I kind of goofed here. I should probably have a doorway in place here. So I'll consider how I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll do it up here. Okay. Everything is kind of fixable, so. Those little glossy Dreclets. Taken care of. And you know what we're also going to put in here? We're going to put in some pips so they can plant them seeds. And we'll ladder this off. Except for that last spot there. And we'll let them plant the plants in the ceiling. We might have to dig up a few of these neighboring plants to make it work, but that's totally fine. Actually going to dig up all of them so that there is absolutely no interference possible. And look, there's even a little bit of small cache of hydrogen we can have. and start to fill this chamber up. That's cool. And we'll get some pips in here. So you remember these guys? They're all quite happy over here. We'll get our oldest pips out of the thing. There's a 61. That's old. 10. Nope, too young. 80. That's old. We'll get that one out. And 23. 4. Okay. So that 23 is kind of old. We'll go ahead and grab that one too. But we'll get those pips put in that room and we can do our business. Let's go with the mirth leaves. Getting there. Yeah, we'll eventually fill in this with plants as well. So, I mean, we're really leaning on these pips to do a lot of work for us. But they can do the job, and nothing better than free. Free is the best price I can possibly think of for our resources. So, we'll make it work. I wonder where that glossy Drecolo got off. There he is. Oh gosh. Didn't get delivered, so. Yeah, I'm gonna try and make this as easy as possible. Okay, so we got our glossy Dreclet stored in here. Now all we gotta do is make sure he survives and gets plenty of food. Oh gosh, here we go. The lily. So what we want is for them to start planting pinch up peppermint seeds. So we're gonna have to build a little spot for them, and then they'll start loading up this room with pinch up peppermint plants. Should totally take care of our little Dreco friends. Pinch up peppermint. So once we get some of those pinch of peppermint seeds in place, we will be in business. Gosh, just loads of those seeds, I guess, huh? Alright, so hopefully these little goons will make for us the correct plant. Plant the plant that we want, bunch of peppermint plants, and we'll get a whole string of them up in the ceiling here. That's the plan anyways. So we'll see how we do with the little guys as they do the work. There we go, we got our first one planted. Fabulous. Deconstruct the next one. And that's how we'll do it. We'll just keep things flowing here, and we'll have our little branch of glossy Drecos who feast on pinch of peppermint plants. I think there's no finer way of handling this situation, to be honest with you. So, with that, I think we'll call it the end of the video here. We've reached space, finally. We can start to build a way of getting our dupes up into safe space safely, and we can start to harvest rad bolts from the generalized radiation that's out there in space. And once we're doing that, we can get some research that'll allow us to make some advancements inside the base and so forth. So we'll call this the end of the episode, and hope you enjoyed the video. I hope your cat liked it if you have one, and we'll be seeing you.